Good evening, Belize. It's Tuesday and you're watching News 5. I'm Sabrina Daly and here's what's making headlines tonight. The Public Utilities Commission finally breaks its silence on BTL's proposed buyout of SpeedNet. What the regulator is saying now, even as a decision on the controversial deal remains pending. At the same time, 4 independent senators are questioning why the PUC has taken so long to weigh in on the issue. Plus, BTL's chief financial officer sits down one-on-one with News 5 to make the case for the merger and its promised benefits. Also tonight, a shooting in La Democracia leaves one man, Paul Smith Jr., dead. And 1 year after 3 American women were found dead inside the Royal Cajal Resort in San Pedro, their families have now filed lawsuits in the United States. These stories and more are coming up in 60 seconds. Stay with us. News 5 starts now.
Hello friends, I'm Dr. Bob Roberts with another 60-second sermon from God's Word. The Bible says, "Blessed are those servants whom the Lord when he cometh shall find watching." As a skipper of a ship approached the shore, he looked through his binoculars and said to his fellow shipmates, "John, I see you're Mary. Tom, I see you're Alice." One sailor asked, "Do you see my wife?" The skipper replied, he did not see her. The ship docked, but his wife was not there to meet him. With a heavy heart, the sailor walked home alone. That evening from the ship, as he opened the door, his wife greeted him, saying, "I'm glad you're home. I was waiting for you." He replied, "Oh, but the other wives were watching as well as waiting." What about you? Are you waiting, or are you waiting and watching? Do you live in a state of expectancy? Come to Christ and then live each day in a spirit of expectation, so that when Jesus Christ does return, you will be ready to welcome him back. Today's 60-second sermon has been presented by Christian Foundations of Faith in cooperation with the Baptist churches in your area.
The Public Utilities Commission advises the public that it has conducted a comprehensive review of market conditions in the telecommunications sector, and as part of this process, has prepared an initial determination outlining the preliminary findings on whether any licensee may hold a position of market dominance in accordance with Section 42 of the Belize Telecommunications Act. This assessment is evidence-based and forward-looking and is intended to safeguard consumers and other users of telecommunications services by identifying where competitive limitations may be scarce to prevent risks such as excessive pricing, reduced service quality, limited choices, and unfair treatment. In conducting this assessment, the PUC reviewed regional and international regulatory approaches to guide localized assessment under Belize's legislative framework. The initial determination identifies the relevant telecommunication markets as follows. Retail markets include services supplied directly to end users, including fixed, mobile, and bundled offerings. Wholesale markets include services and facilities supplied on a non-retail basis provided to other licensees or users under conditions different from standard retail offerings. Additionally, this determination is structured to support informed public engagement and includes 11 consultation questions to obtain stakeholder feedback. The document on public consultation, Initial Determination on Market Dominance, can be viewed in its entirety at www.puc.bz. The PUC invites written comments from all interested parties, including licensees, consumers, consumer representatives, and the general public. Comments should be submitted to info@puc.bz by 4 p.m. on March 2nd, 2026, and include in the subject line, Comments, Initial Determination on Market Dominance.
Good evening and welcome back. Tonight, the Public Utilities Commission is finally responding to questions about the proposed BTL SpeedNet buyout, but they're keeping many of the details close to the vest. While the Commission says it can't discuss its deliberations, the final decision on whether this merger goes through rests squarely with them. Since BTL first applied back in January to purchase 4 companies, the deal has shifted dramatically. 3 of those companies have now pulled out. That means for anything to move forward, BTL will have to go back to the drawing board with a new updated application. Today we heard from Internal Legal Counsel Stacey Greenidge and Communications Affairs Manager Sheena Garnett.
Well, I must say first that that is a current and active matter before the Commission, and as such we are prohibited from having any public discussions about that. But I can say that what is before the PUC is an agreement for the purchase of shares.
Can you explain what process the PUC is going to go through to approve or deny?
As it relates to your question as to what is the process for the proposed BTL and SpeedNet acquisition, reiterate what Ms. Stacey said, that it's a live case that's in front of the PUC, and as you may be aware that the PUC and the decisions that we make are quasi-judicial, and we are unable to comment until a final decision has been made on whatever has been submitted in front of us for review. Now, what that process is, the first thing that needs to occur is the PUC receives documentation of whatever is the intent or whatever that agreement is. Once we have received that information, then the PUC would then follow through with reviewing that document, and whatever the Telecommunications Act prescribed for us to do, then we would continue that process. And so if it is prescribed, that we are to go to a public consultation, then we would follow what the regulations say, right? So what we can speak on right now is that we had received that document, and that document, there's been a lot of changes from that initial document, and so we need to just receive whatever is that final submission from the party that is interested for the proposed acquisition.
So just how far can BTL go with this proposed merger before crossing the line? According to legal counsel Stacey Greenidge, the Telecommunications Act would be violated if any agreement is signed before PUC approval is granted. And as the Commission waits on a revised application, why isn't it weighing in on the public reaction so far? Here's what Greenidge had to say.
The Act specifically speaks about agreements that are made between license holders with the aim of anti-competitive practices, and that is prohibited by the Act. So that would be in violation of the Act if that is done. But also the PUC, where we suspect or we think there may be, the Act empowers us to act and to make regulations to ensure compliance and reporting. And so if we detect that that is happening, we are empowered to act.
So BTL cannot sign an agreement to buy out the shares of SpeedNet without the PUC first approving that.
The PUC's approval is required.
But they can make a board decision to say, okay, yes, that's the direction we're going to go. And they won't be in violation of the Act.
Well, I can't speak to the actions of the board, BTL's board, only as to the remit of the PUC.
One would argue that these discussions and developments are happening in real time. Why is it that the PUC is not on the ball where these amendments and developments are concerned, and reliant on public discourse as well to get ahead of it and make determinations?
Well, we await the parties to make their submissions before us, and then we make a recommendation.
So for now, the PUC says any binding agreement without its legal approval would break the law. And until a revised application is formally submitted, the Commission will stay on the sidelines of the public debate. Today, the Public Utilities Commission released the results of its long-awaited public consultation on dominance in the telecommunications market. And the findings are quite clear. BTL is the dominant player. But the Commission is stressing that this study has been more than a year in the making and should not be seen as a signal of how it will rule on the proposed BTL-SpeedNet merger. In fact, officials say that's exactly why they called today's press conference, to draw a clear line between the two. Here's how the PUC explains its position.
What it does is that we have identified certain remedial effects that we can implement as the PUC if such a determination is made. If this determination is made, we intend to, as we set out in the document, we intend to implement certain remedies that we believe will maintain the market.
If this public consultation on the assessment of the telecom sector's market dominance assessment, what this public consultation does not do, it does not approve, reject, or put any penalties. It doesn't approve, reject any mergers, any acquisitions, or any transactions, any at all. This public consultation is clear on not doing those things. What it does is it allowed us to look at the market, and this public consultation document and review has been in place way before the realization of a proposed acquisition. And so what it does is we need to put things in place. We need to continue, as Ms. Stacey said, and identify the markets and the changes in the market. And this is a legal tool, this is a legal structure that we can use for it.
So this is not an exercise, for the avoidance of doubt, this is not an exercise that springs out of the application you all received on January 8th, or the notice you received on January 8th. This is an independent, coincidental, really, exercise that started some months ago.
It is an independent exercise that started months ago, yes.
How many months ago?
Mr. Decky, almost a year.
Well, so over 12 months ago.
So while the PUC has confirmed BTL's dominance in the telecoms market, regulators insist the year-long study is separate from and has no bearing on the pending BTL-SpeedNet merger decision. Independent Senators Kevin Herrera, Louis Wade, Glenfield Dennison and Janelle Chanona are once again taking a stand against BTL's proposed acquisition of SpeedNet. Senators are doubling down on their warnings tonight, saying the proposed buyout could fundamentally change Belize's telecommunications landscape, and not for the better. They argue existing law already includes safeguards meant to prevent monopolies and question why regulators are only stepping in at the tail end of the process. While government officials say oversight would kick in if and when the deal is approved, the senators insist that the Public Utilities Commission should have acted much earlier to protect competition, with Union Senator Glenfield Dennison now calling for action before the ink dries.
I invite the members of the PUC to shift your lens away from thinking that the answer is regulating a dominant actor in telecoms. The starting point should and must always be that competition and rivalry is what should be driving the telecoms industry. So I asked my Belizean people, how much I want to like double up? Like that concept that came to being in my lifetime, double up, and then I start get triple up. One time I had quadruple up, right? I could be clear. That is what competition does. Don't ask the Belizean people what they think about a dominant position. You go and you do what the law says you must do in order to determine whether or not they're dominant. And understand and appreciate that your role, sir, is not to create a dominant actor and then regulate it. Your role is to create the market environment so that competition thrives, and in a situation where through competition one dominant provider kills the competition, fair and square, that is where your power to regulate and price cap ought to come in. So don't come to us, sir and sirs at the PUC, like only to help the Belizean people. If you want help, the help we want is competition. And where competition results in one player, then you regulate them.
Independent senators say the proposed telemedia SpeedNet deal threatens competition, and Union Senator Glenfield Dennison is urging the Public Utilities Commission to step in now before the deal is finalized and the market is reshaped. The Public Utilities Commission remains under the microscope tonight, facing fresh criticism over how it's handling Belize Telemedia Limited's proposed takeover of SpeedNet. Independent senators are warning that the deal could tie the regulator's hands and undermine its responsibilities under the Belize Telecommunications Act. During a heated exchange, Church Senator Louis Wade Jr. argued that the law already gives the PUC the authority to determine market dominance without public consultation, and says calling for public input now doesn't automatically mean transparency. Wade is also sounding the alarm that, if approved, the acquisition could leave Belizean consumers exposed, with few safeguards in place.
PUC is losing its standing in the in the public's eyes, because PUC is only now coming public with their first temporary position and making requests, when people have already now been protesting in front of telemedia. And so this is why I am saying that you have a problem where the perception that PUC is government controlled because it is government appointed. So now rather than PUC take a bold step forward, it has waited so long that it looks as if it's waiting on a signal from cabinet, or it's waiting on a signal from the government-owned private entity BTL. And so it does need to shift, because if BTL is not yet a monopoly and it's already causing PUC to slow down and not carry out its role, how will PUC act when BTL becomes a monopoly? And we've been there. So I old enough to know that they held back voice over IP for years and held back the economy of the country. It held back, the world was ahead of us. Because PUC and the BTL, you have this monopoly, government and government controlled, and so they are not acting in the best interest of the people of Belize. They are not acting in the best interest of the economy. They were acting in best interest of the shareholders. And this has happened over and over and over. And so it disappoints me that in 2025, 2026, we are back here having this very same conversation.
Church Senator Louis Wade Jr. says the PUC's delayed response is eroding public trust and warns that approving the deal could leave Belizean consumers exposed, raising the question of how the regulator would act if dominance becomes reality. Coming up, BTL's chief financial officer says consolidation benefits every Belizean. More when we return.
Our Belize City is growing because of continued investment. From rehabilitated streets to expanding neighborhoods, significant investments are improving how our city functions and how our communities live. In the last 2 years alone, more than 250 streets have been rehabilitated, representing almost $34 million invested directly in physical infrastructure that improves access and quality of life. At the same time, the city continues to expand. Developments such as the Holy Emmanuel area, also known as Gungulung, reflect increased demand for land and housing as Belize City expands in a more sustainable and resilient way. These planned developments support safer communities and long-term sustainability, contributing to rising property values across the city. Under the Town's Property Evaluation Act, property values are required to be reviewed every 5 years. The last valuation adjustment was done in 2013. This adjustment simply brings property values closer to today's market reality, while the tax rate itself remains unchanged. Let's break it down. For a vacant property valued at $25,000, we charged an annual 2% rate, which works out to a payment of $500. Under the new assessment, the property value has appreciated by 40%, making the property now worth $35,000. Therefore, the new amount to be paid will be 2% of $35,000, which works out to $700. For an occupied property valued at $25,000, we charged an annual 10% rate, which works out to $2,500. Under the new assessment, the property's value has appreciated by 18%, making the property now worth $29,500. Therefore, the new amount to be paid will be 10% of $29,500, which works out to $2,950. To support property owners, your Belize City Council is encouraging residents to take advantage of the ongoing property tax prepayment incentives. Property owners receive 15% off in January, 10% off in February, and 5% in March. And senior citizens receive a 35% discount. year-round. Remember, this adjustment represents an appreciation in your property's worth, not a change in tax rates, ensuring continued investment in your city while providing valuable data for informing investors, municipal bondholders, and individual credit assessments. And we want residents to know the law provides a clear mechanism for review and appeal if needed. Those who believe their valuation does not fairly reflect their property have the right to engage the Belize City Valuation Appeals Board. Your Belize City Council remains committed to openness, accountability, and ensuring that growth is managed fairly for everyone. Your Belize City Council, always about the people.
President, His Excellency Dr. Irfan Ali, my friend, welcome to Belize. Your visit, the first state visit by a president of the Cooperative Republic of Guyana, is history-making.
Belize and Guyana share many things in common. Culture, common history. Both of us want to learn from the past, and both of us want to share what knowledge we have with each other to the shared prosperity, friendship, and warmth of our two countries. I believe that this is just the beginning of a deeper relationship.
From the moment of our arrival, my delegation and I have felt not only the warmth but the easy familiarity of a Caribbean family welcoming one of its own. I am deeply honored to have been invited on a state visit to this magnificent country, an expression of the highest respect between sovereign nations, and a moment to reaffirm the bonds that connect our peoples, our institutions, and our shared aspirations.
After weeks of public scrutiny and street protests over the proposed consolidation of SpeedNet, today BTL stepped forward with its side of the story. In an exclusive briefing, the company laid out the same presentation now being shared with Cabinet, social partners, stakeholders, and shareholders. BTL's Chief Financial Officer Ian Cleverly says the $80 million transaction is about long-term gains for consumers, employees, and minority shareholders. According to Cleverly, when you look at the numbers, the investment makes sense.
The financial summary of this transaction, the investment payback. The discounted payback period for the $80 million investment is 4.2 years. Dividend growth. Dividends to shareholders are projected to increase with the increase in synergies, the increased available cash flow once this transaction happens. BTL is able to support stronger shareholder returns. That's the minority shareholders, that's the large shareholders, and also our employees. And the minority shareholders are 1,500 minority shareholders. 200% increase return to shareholders on a $5 share. These returns are very, very strong, which is why the transaction makes sense. The duplicated infrastructure, the wasted duplicated assets, consumers are paying for this. Consumers are paying the price for duplicated infrastructure.
Tell us about the goal of reaching those 43 communities and how are they being left out at the moment?
So the economic returns to go and build infrastructure in these very remote areas is a long payback. Companies look at their financial returns and see where it's viable commercially to actually build infrastructure. Telecoms is expensive to roll out network infrastructure, and it doesn't make commercial sense. This transaction enables us to redeploy those assets that Smart has, and also BTL, to enable us to roll those networks sites out to those areas at a much reduced cost, which increases the payback. We're estimating that 18,000 people, when we roll out this new infrastructure, will gain access to telecom services that don't have it today.
BTL says one of the biggest payoffs from consolidating SpeedNet would be more roaming revenue for Belize. The two major telecoms admit years of cutthroat competition for U.S. roaming traffic have turned into a losing game, with both companies slashing rates while American carriers continue charging visitors up to $5 a day. BTL claims that battle has cost the country tens of millions of U.S. dollars in lost foreign exchange over the last 5 years. The company argues that by ending the price war, a merger would give Belize back its bargaining power and keep more roaming dollars at home. Here's what CFO Ian Cleverly says has really been happening.
BTL and SpeedNet have both suffered from a race to the bottom. BTL and SpeedNet have been competing for the same traffic, and naturally they've been competing on volume and rates. What has happened is rates have dropped to the bottom or gradually decreased over time. That has impacted BTL and SpeedNet negatively, but also the country has missed out on US dollar currency. We know how much BTL has lost over the last 5 years, and the amount is significant. If you multiply the annual rate times by 5, it's a large number of revenue that's been lost, but more importantly, US dollar currency that the country hasn't gained. The only people benefiting from this lower roaming rates is the US carriers, because they still charge $3 to $5 a day for customers coming into Belize, and we get a minute amount of that value. I can say we've lost between $40 to $50 million over a 5-year period of hard US dollar currency that hasn't come to the country. SpeedNet will have lost an amount. I can't comment on their value, but based on BTLs, we've lost a significant amount of money that hasn't come to the country.
But will everyone really benefit from this merger, especially workers? That's the question many employees at BTL and SpeedNet are asking as consolidation talks move forward. While fears of layoffs are growing, BTL's chief financial officer says no redundancies are planned at this stage. Instead, he points to retaining new technology and long-term growth, insisting the merger is about strengthening the company, not cutting jobs. CFO Ian Cleverly responds to concerns about workers, prices, and what the future could look like.
We're committed to price capping plans and freezing plans for the 36 months. We're also looking at social plans and social tariffs. We're also looking at tariffs and stuff for vulnerable customers, the elderly, as part of this process. We are opening Smart up to value-rich added bundles from BTL. So the plan is that prices will be managed within bundle forms, so values get more, maybe for the same price or less.
And in terms of jobs and job security, I know people are concerned about that. Smart employees, BTL employees, how will that work in terms of this merger?
So we recognize the talents on SpeedNet side and also on the BTL side. We are not planning at this point any redundancies. We recognize the talent on both sides of companies. We want to bring those talents into BTL. We want to learn. We want to develop that talent. But also, we want to have a company that is efficient. Resources utilized efficiently. There's lots of new technology coming along. We have our telco to techco strategy, where we need new skills, new expertise. So the plan is, with the increased cash flows and increased revenues that this transaction brings, is for us to train those employees. Give them the skills, the expertise to empower them to grow and grow the overall economy of Belize.
So while fears of job cuts and higher prices are top of mind for workers, BTL's CFO insists the merger is about retraining, price freezes, and long-term growth, not layoffs. Independent senators are now widening their focus in the ongoing SpeedNet telemedia controversy, this time turning their attention to the Social Security Board. They're urging the board to take a firm stand, arguing that as a major shareholder, the SSB has both the authority and the responsibility to step in and protect workers' contributions, even if that means heading to court. Today, Union Senator Glenfield Dennison explained why he believes the time to act is now, and whether ordinary citizens also have legal options in this fight.
Social Security Board, being a shareholder, has in law standing to go before the Supreme Court for an injunctive relief whenever they feel like the BTL is not acting in their best interest. And so we want to urge Social Security Board to pay attention, and notwithstanding the fact that majority of the members are appointed by the government, you have a fiduciary duty to the workers of Belize. And so the appeal to Social Security Board to take a position is rooted in the fact that they are putting workers' monies at risk when they do something like this. And so that's where we start, because they have the best standing as, I think, 1/3 shareholder of Digi to make an official position known on where they stand as one of the larger shareholders.
Is it the understanding that a citizen can actually pursue that formally as well?
It depends on the answer is yes, but it depends on the course of action that is being taken, because the Telecoms Act and the PUC Act provides for specific instances where private citizens can seek a remedy. But you see, this deal is happening in such a vacuum that in order for you to put evidence before a court in the form of an affidavit, you have to be in the know. Like you have to know certain things. You can't just go to the Supreme Court and say, I want an injunction because I feel like this is no good, right? So that's why we're suggesting that SSB is like, they had to have shown their directors, the sign on disclosure and things like that, but they have the most information.
Tensions are rising between the trade unions and law enforcement tonight. The National Trade Union Congress of Belize says police have turned down their official request to demonstrate outside the Social Security Board's Belize City office tomorrow, even though union leaders insist they followed every legal step required. The plan, they say, was a peaceful lunchtime protest from 10 to 2, aimed so workers could take part without leaving their jobs for the day. But police reportedly told the unions that the time slot was already approved for the United Democratic Party and suggested they pick another day. According to NTUCB President Ella Waite, that response is disappointing. It's also alarming. She says it sends a dangerous signal about workers' rights and the freedom to protest in this country. And tonight, she's explaining why the unions believe this issue goes far beyond a denied permit.
So the General Counsel decided that we must ensure that we were actually applying to be the ones to apply for the permit for tomorrow to protest, but we were denied that permit. We were told that the United Democratic Party had already applied for one, but our period would have applied for was from 10 to 2 to encourage workers to come out during the lunch break. We were denied that permit, and I find that very concerning because that's our right to go through the process, which we did, the legal process to apply for a permit. I was spoken to be very honest, very rudely by the officer, indicating, well, if the UDP, we joined the UDP last session, which we did not, we went around on our own, then we should do the same this time. And they even told us that, well, why don't you guys apply for another day? That's not the prerogative of the police department to tell us when to protest. That's our right as workers and citizens of this country. So I wanted to share that with the public, that this is becoming very, I think, very censored in a way to conduct our right to protest as Belizeans. And that's very concerning. If that's the way we're going to go down in history, where we cannot be allowed to protest when we wish to, going through the legal process, that is very dangerous and concerning.
NTUCB President Ella Wade says the unions aren't backing down, warning that when workers are denied the chance to protest after following the law, it puts fundamental rights and Belize's democratic freedoms at serious risk. And despite being told no, the National Trade Union Congress of Belize says this fight is far from over. Union leaders are now calling on all workers, unionized or not, to stand together as they move ahead with plans to demonstrate outside the Social Security Board office in Belize City, where a key board meeting is expected to take place. The NTUCB insists this is not an attack on the Social Security Board, but a call for transparency and accountability over decisions that directly affect workers' contributions and their futures. According to NTUCB President Ella Wade, this moment rises above party politics, reminding Belizeans that before red or blue, we are workers first and Belizeans first.
We find it necessary to protest in front of the Social Security office in Belize City, where we understand the board meeting would be held. Of course, we know they can change venue. That's an option they have. But we understand that's where usually board meetings are held. Just to encourage, because we have a sense that the board members there are very cautious of this investment. So we want to encourage them. This is not to say we are going against Social Security Board. We are encouraging them to please do the right thing. Wait until you get the information, then share that information with us. Again, as workers and even employers who contribute to the scheme have a right. NTUCB are workers of this country. If you work, even if you're not in a unionized organization, if you work, we represent you, your concerns. Every other thing that we lobby for with Labor Department when it comes to policies, with the Labor Complaints Tribunal that deals with workers who have been unlawfully terminated or dismissed, it's for workers, it's for you, the workers. So it's time that you come out. Even if, like I always say, even if for 10 minutes you stand up there with us, show that support that I am with the National Trade Union Congress of Belize because I am a worker, I am a Belizean first. And there are times that we have to take a stand. It doesn't have to deal with red or blue. You could be a POP, you could be a UDP, but it has to be I'm a Belizean first.
Beyond a protest permit, the NTUCB says this is about workers showing up, even briefly, to remind decision makers that Social Security funds belong to the people who earn them, not to politics or party lines. After the break, inside Belize's Agriculture High School, where students grow futures. But first, here's the latest weather update from the Belize Met Service.
Every connection we make is more than just a signal. It's a student unlocking a future through digital education. A young mind daring to dream bigger. Our culture shared with the world in real time. And everyday heroes answering the call of civic duty. When we connect with Digi, we empower Belize.
Introducing BB Insurance, built for Belize. Your security, our priority.
Registering a child's birth is a vital step for parents and guardians, and now it's easier than ever. With the new Civil Registry and Vital Statistics System, CRVS, you can register online or at any Civil Registry Department and Vital Statistics Unit office near you. Who can register a birth? Married parents. Either of you can register. Just bring your marriage certificate. Single mothers. You can register alone as long as the father's name isn't being added to the birth certificate. Unmarried parents. Either parent can register with a signed consent form from the other. Download the consent form from the VSU website. It's quick and easy. Required documents. For all birth registrations, you'll need a copy of your ID. The new CRVS, digitally connecting citizens to all vital statistics services. Visit crvs.gov.bz today to register your child's birth.
In the heart of the Cayo district, Calico Jacks is proving that sustainability and success can go hand in hand.
When Calico Jacks wanted to move to solar energy, the biggest difficulty for us was the finance. Belize Bank believed in our vision, and we are very happy and grateful that they gave us this opportunity for the financing.
Through the Credit Risk Abatement Facility, a partnership between Belize Bank and the CARICOM Development Fund, small and medium businesses can access financing for renewable and energy-efficient solutions with reduced collateral requirements.
Here at SCSB, we're grateful for Belize Bank to make it easier for our clients to go green. We're proud to work with businesses like Calico Jacks to help them lower their costs and their carbon footprint.
At Belize Bank, we are powering Belize's transition to renewable energy, one business at a time. Together with our partners, we're making sustainable financing accessible for all.
Belize Bank, financing a greener, stronger Belize.
Clean and maintain your yard the best way with Honda trimmers and lawn mowers. Honda Lawn and Garden Equipment. Available at Benquip. Equipment, parts, service.
Finally, a postpaid plan for 3 people. Introducing Smart Trio. Why pay for mobile service alone when you can share and save? Get unlimited national calls, text, plus 100 gigabytes of shared data. And the best part? It's only $135. That's right, as low as $45 per person. Perfect for small families, couples, or close friends. Smart Trio. 3 lines, 1 smart choice. Sign up now and you could win a Trio getaway to San Pedro for 3. Visit us at www.smart-bz.com for more information or sign up at any showroom today. Smart, bringing people together.
Tonight on Culture Tuesday, we're taking you to a school where education doesn't end at the classroom door. At the Belize High School of Agriculture, students aren't just preparing for the future. They're planting it, harvesting it, and learning how to sustain it. From the fields to the books, it's hands-on learning with real-world impact. Shane Williams takes us inside this unique institution and shows us how these students are growing more than crops. They're growing opportunities.
Tucked away in the tranquil haven that is Trinidad Village, the Belize High School of Agriculture offers free secondary education, complete with daily nutritious meals, transportation, and hands-on training that blends academics with real-world skills.
Well, what is unique about Belize High School of Agriculture is that we are an institution that emphasizes on agriculture. We have a wide range of agriculture programs that provide that give students the skills, real life skills and practical experiences so that they can become productive citizens.
Tell us what we would experience here on a day-to-day basis with the students.
Well, what you would see every day is students working out in the sun, planting and taking care of all the different plants that we have, and we also have different programs. Like I said, some of them take care of the sheep. We have tilapia farming, we have poultry that includes layers and broilers, and also we have apiculture, beekeeping. So students are involved in a lot of activities on a daily basis.
Agriculture isn't an afterthought here at BHSA, it's the foundation. Students learn modern farming practices, animal husbandry, environmental stewardship, and leadership, preparing them not just for exams, but for life.
It's wonderful. It's like being with a family that always gives you love with friendships. And in agriculture, I feel good because I am from San Carlos and we practice agriculture. And we plant, we farm, we harvest, we're on food, we sell in the market. In being here, I feel like if I am in my village, in my home where I have grown.
For many students, the experience is transformative. Free tuition removes financial barriers, while a safe, structured environment allows young people from across Belize to discover their potential.
Para mí yo lo veo como un beneficio porque pues yo vivo con mi mamá y mis dos hermanos y
yes, I see it as a huge benefit because I live with my mom and two brothers. So I work part-time in the evenings and Saturdays and Sundays too to help my mom and help myself as well with the things I need here and there. So it is something good. I come to learn and I'm looking forward to finishing my fourth form and graduating. I've liked the school so far and I've enjoyed the journey here.
Me gusta todo el ambiente, todo del colegio.
Beyond the fields, students strive in sports, culture clubs, cadets, music, and student government, building confidence and discipline along the way. From classroom instruction to agricultural plots, from team sports to national celebrations, BHSA prides itself on shaping well-rounded students rooted in Belizean culture. With a clear mission and a growing vision, the Belize High School of Agriculture is cultivating the leaders of tomorrow. Ernesto Pech is the school's Director of Agriculture. He has been at BHSA for 29 years and has taught some of today's policymakers.
Individuals graduating from BHSA have been exemplary. For example, right now the Chief Agriculture Officer in the Ministry of Agriculture graduated from here, Dr. Pascual. Most of them have been successful. They have become, they have done their degrees, they have their masters. There's this other young man also, Luciano Chi, who works for CIRDI. He also has his doctorate degree, graduate from BHSA. We have Mr. Esquivel, who is, I think, is also a little underneath the Chief Agriculture Officer. I think he is one of the managers, directors in the ministry as well, and another graduate from BHSA.
Second form student Tracy Mojica is among hundreds of students from northern Belize, hoping to follow in the footsteps of the school's distinguished graduates.
I am from San Felipe village, and my village has studied a lot about cattle. And I want to show the world that we girls can be as well farmers. And so they know not only males can be farmers, and we can do it.
I just encourage those in Standard 6 in primary school to join our institution, because here we teach them not only by the books, but also we teach them the skills necessary that they can become productive citizens, especially in the agriculture sector.
You can find some of BHSA's hottest products in northern shops. This is a school proving that when education meets the community's needs, the seeds we plant today will bloom wonderfully tomorrow. For News 5's Culture Tuesday, I'm Shane Williams reporting from the Belize High School of Agriculture.
The President of Guyana, Dr. Irfan Ali, has concluded a 3-day state visit to Belize. On Sunday, Dr. Ali arrived at the Philip Gosen International Airport, where he was greeted with a full ceremonial welcome by members of the Belize Defense Force and received by the Ministry of Foreign Affairs. At a special sitting of Parliament on Monday, Dr. Ali took the floor in the National Assembly. During his visit, the Guyanese president also paid courtesy visits to 4 locations in the Cayo district, including Santander Sugar Limited and Quality Poultry Products headquarters. Belize and Guyana are deepening their partnership with a series of new cooperation agreements covering security, education, tourism, technology, and investment. The deals focus on practical gains like working together to tackle regional crime, expand scholarships and skills training, grow tourism, and modernize government services through digital tools and AI. Both countries have also signaled plans to pursue a bilateral investment treaty and collaborate more closely on biodiversity and climate issues. While the agreements are not legally binding, leaders say they mark a strong step toward closer ties, shared Caribbean priorities, and long-term regional development. Concluding his visit today, Dr. Ali was escorted to the Philip Gosen International Airport and received a ceremonial farewell from the Belize Defense Force Honor Guard. When we return, La Democracia shooting claims life of Paul Smith Jr.
Haven't updated your information recently? Well, kick off the new year as a winner. RF&G Insurance is giving you a free chance to win every month. Entering is easy. Just chat with us on WhatsApp and update your information. That's it. You'll be automatically entered into our monthly raffle for a chance to win awesome prizes. Don't wait. Message us on WhatsApp and update your info today. RF&G Insurance. It pays to get it right.
Shop smart for your Samsung devices in Belize and enjoy benefits you won't get anywhere else. When you shop locally for your Samsung, all your devices will be covered by a 1-year local warranty. You won't get that when shopping with the other guys. When in doubt, always look for the Cellular World seal to know you're getting the real deal. Shop with confidence and enjoy your Galaxy knowing that it can be repaired locally at our Samsung Service Center by certified Samsung technicians using original parts and machinery. Even better, enjoy the best LTE experience in Belize, knowing that your Samsung devices are compatible with major local carrier networks. Get the ultimate Samsung Galaxy experience only when you shop from authorized Samsung resellers nationwide.
In the heart of the Cayo district, Calico Jacks is proving that sustainability and success can go hand in hand.
When Calico Jacks wanted to move to solar energy, the biggest difficulty for us was the finance. Belize Bank believed in our vision, and we are very happy and grateful that they gave us this opportunity for the financing.
Through the Credit Risk Abatement Facility, a partnership between Belize Bank and the CARICOM Development Fund, small and medium businesses can access financing for renewable and energy-efficient solutions with reduced collateral requirements.
Here at SCSB, we're grateful for Belize Bank to make it easier for our clients to go green. We're proud to work with businesses like Calico Jacks to help them lower their costs and their carbon footprint.
At Belize Bank, we are powering Belize's transition to renewable energy, one business at a time. Together with our partners, we're making sustainable financing accessible for all.
Belize Bank, financing a greener, stronger Belize.
Start your day the right way with your morning boost. Get moving with energizing workouts, refreshing yoga sessions, and easy tips to keep your mind and body in balance. From fitness to personal growth and positivity, We're here to kickstart your mornings with motivation that lasts all day. Wake up to wellness. Your morning boost. Every day at 6 a.m.
That's me. My data done, and I really need to get my ADA out today.
Really? Well, you can join our Smart Group plan.
Really? How that work?
Easy, let me tell you.
Whether it's family, friends, or your small business, we've got the perfect plan for every group. More members equals more savings, more connections. Smart Group plans bring the connectivity you love to you and your circle. No one gets left behind. Explore Share One package option and add on unlimited data, calls, and SMS for the entire group for less than $50 per member. Visit any Smart showroom countrywide or email sales@speednet-wireless.com to sign up today. Smart, bringing people together.
A fatal shooting in La Democracia has claimed the life of Paul Smith Jr., sending shockwaves through the community and marking the latest violent incident to grip the village. Smith Jr. died from gunshot wounds after shots were reported earlier in the day. He was a familiar name in the national crime and court docket in recent years. Smith was acquitted in November 2024 of a murder charge connected to the 2022 killing of Tyreek Dwight August in La Democracia after the prosecution entered a nolle prosequi, effectively discontinuing the case. At the time, the court noted that he had spent more than 2 years on remand, having been a minor when he was initially charged. Despite being cleared of that murder charge, Smith Jr.'s legal troubles did not end there. In June 2025, the then 21-year-old was remanded to the Belize Central Prison on charges of attempted murder, use of deadly means of harm, and grievous harm following a violent chopping incident in La Democracia that left another man injured and hospitalized. Bail was denied due to the seriousness of the allegations, and the case underscored his continued entanglement with the justice system. Today's killing adds another grim chapter to a history already marked by court battles and community concern. While police have not yet released details on suspects or motives in the latest shooting, investigations are ongoing. The incident has renewed fears about escalating violence and the cycle of crime affecting young men in the area. As authorities work to piece together what led to Smith Jr.'s death, questions remain about public safety, rehabilitation, and whether earlier interventions could have altered the trajectory that ended so violently. For now, a community mourns another life loss, and a family grieves as police continue their probe into the circumstances surrounding the shooting. An American national 28-year-old Darnay Garcia was arraigned this morning in the Belize City Magistrates Court following a violent domestic dispute in Lord's Bank that escalated into an alleged shooting at police. Garcia faces multiple charges, including attempted murder of 3 police officers, firearm and ammunition offenses, harm to his ex-girlfriend, and damage to a government police vehicle. Police say officers responded to a domestic disturbance early Sunday morning and found Garcia's ex-girlfriend, Janisha Gentle, visibly injured. As officers attempted to detain Garcia, he allegedly ran inside his house, and moments later, shots were fired at the police vehicle as officers drove away. 2 bullet holes were later found on the government pickup. Garcia was also found in possession of multiple firearms and ammunition, including a 9mm pistol, an AR-15 rifle, and dozens of live rounds, along with suspected cannabis. During his arraignment, Garcia repeatedly told the court he did not understand the charges and claimed to have a psychotic condition. Because of this, the chief magistrate ruled that no plea could be taken and ordered Garcia remanded to the Belize Central Prison for a psychiatric evaluation. The court also heard that Garcia stopped taking prescribed medication after arriving in Belize last year. His twin brother told the court the family is willing to pay for a private mental evaluation. Garcia remains in custody as the court awaits the outcome of the assessment before the case can proceed. Nearly a year after 3 young women from Revere, Massachusetts were found dead at a resort in Belize, their families are going to court. The relatives of Wafaye Elarar, Imane Mala, and Kautar Nakad have filed a federal lawsuit against the Royal Kahal Beach Resort and a web of companies connected to their stay demanding answers and accountability. The women were found in their resort suite after staff couldn't reach them for days. While early reports blamed a medical condition, toxicology tests later revealed deadly carbon monoxide poisoning. The lawsuit targets the resort's Canadian owners, Belizean contractors who installed the gas system, the U.S. manufacturer of a water heater, and the online booking platforms used to reserve the trip. Attorneys say the defendants marketed the resort to U.S. travelers, did business in Massachusetts, and failed to warn guests about known safety risks. The families addressed the lawsuit at a press briefing in Massachusetts this morning.
The resort itself and the authorities hastily suggested that drugs were to blame, a conclusion that wrongly shifted the suspicion onto the victims themselves. That narrative was later conclusively disproven when official findings confirmed that carbon monoxide poisoning was the sole cause of death. While the truth is now clear, the focus today is on what happens next. We fully expect the defendants in this case to argue that this case should be pushed out of a U.S. court and into a forum where accountability is sharply limited. From the family's perspective, that would reflect an effort to escape and severely limit meaningful responsibility for preventable loss of life. In Massachusetts, a jury composed of Massachusetts citizens can fully consider the value of human life and impose punitive damages for reckless conduct. In Belize, where this incident occurred, wrongful death awards are decided by a judge, largely limited only to economic losses, which could, in most situations, be zero. And punitive damages are not available. Meaningful accountability depends on the forum in which justice is sought. Let me be clear about what happens next. This case will test whether companies that profit from American consumers can be held to account when preventable tragedies occur, or whether they can avoid all responsibility by hiding behind borders and technicalities.
Attorneys for the families say this case will now test whether companies that profit from American travelers can be held responsible here at home, or whether they can dodge accountability by hiding behind borders after a preventable tragedy. Nearly a year after those 3 young women from Revere never made it home from a trip to Belize, their families are turning grief into action. They filed a federal wrongful death lawsuit in Massachusetts, arguing the tragedy was preventable and that justice belongs in a U.S. courtroom. At a press conference this morning, Kautar Nakad's sister Ikram said the fight is about accountability and making sure no other family suffers the same loss.
During this investigation, before we found Tom and Lou, the sisters were doing the investigations because the rumor was, it was drugs. So we had to do all the research. So our grief is delayed because in that moment we had to stand up. But it does not feel like a year at all. Kautar and Wafa and Iman, they spent most of their time They spent most of their time at my parents' house. They were always together. They were always happy. Kautar was a youth counselor. She was looking forward to becoming a state police. Wafa worked at NGH in the research office, and Iman was studying to be a nurse. So they all had careers. They all, they had big ideas, and they had so much they wanted to accomplish. But as Dina said before, Kautar was everybody's person. It's my little sister. Wafa, I grew up with her. She was our sister, our adopted sister, and she was always smiling, always laughing, no matter what the situation was. Iman, the same for her. She was, any room she walks into, she shed light. Everyone's daughters are special, so this should not happen again to anybody else, and that's what we want to accomplish here.
The families say this lawsuit isn't simply about what happened to their daughters and sisters. It's about setting the story straight, remembering 3 lives cut short, and protecting other families from the same pain. Up next, inside the $5.8 million makeover of Belize's National Assembly.
More modern functional workspace for staff.
That's me. My idea and I really need to get my ARA out today.
Really? Well, you can join our Smart Group plan.
Really? How that works?
Easy, let me tell you.
Whether it's family, friends, or your small business, we've got the perfect plan for every group. More members equals more savings, more connections. Smart group plans bring the connectivity you love to you and your circle. No one gets left behind. Explore Share One package option and add on unlimited data, calls, and SMS for the entire group for less than $50 per member. Visit any Smart showroom countrywide or email sales@speednet-wireless.com to sign up today. Smart, bringing people together.
Unwrap the joy of crystal clear picture and sound from Aiwa, the brand that offers you affordability and exceptional quality. Aiwa has a wide range of exceptional products to choose from, such as TVs, speakers, headphones, home appliances, and much more at affordable prices that won't break the bank. Enhance your audio-visual entertainment experience with Aiwa, and for your convenience, parts are readily available in country for hassle-free maintenance. You can find Aiwa products at your local electronics store countrywide. Choose Aiwa, the best in home entertainment and household appliances.
For decades, BEL has powered Belize's growth and progress, lighting homes, energizing industries, and fueling national development. But in a world reshaped by extreme weather patterns, digital transformation, and evolving customer needs, the future of energy demands a new approach. The future of energy is now, and it's not just about new technology, it's about people and how we use, manage, and store power smarter. BEL is leading the transformation, blending modern advancements with the wisdom of sustainable energy practices. Integrating technologies will redefine how Belize produces and uses energy. With distributed generation and smart grid technologies, customers are becoming power partners. Energy is no longer a one-way street. BEL is making key investments that will reinforce the grid to make this a reality, ensuring energy security for generations. At BEL, we are more than an energy provider. We work to safeguard Belize's energy future, which will have demand response programs, where customers will be able to shift use during peak hours to take advantage of the new time of use or off-peak rate structures. Customer energy portals, real-time insights and tools to track usage and manage energy smarter. Smart metering, advanced metering infrastructure, faster, safer service and actionable energy insights. distributed generation, integrating rooftop solar, microgrids, and battery storage for two-way power flows into the national grid. Together, we are bringing you a brighter tomorrow.
Cada conexión es más que solo una señal, es un estudiante abriendo las puertas a su futuro a través de la educación digital. Una mente joven atreviéndose a soñar en grande. Nuestra cultura compartida con el mundo en tiempo real. Y héroes cotidianos respondiendo al llamado del deber cívico. Cuando nos conectamos con Digi, empoderamos a Belice.
Tonight, we're taking you inside the halls of power and into a building that's just undergone its biggest transformation in 5 decades. The National Assembly building in Belmopan has received its most extensive renovation since it was first opened, blending modern upgrades with the distinctive architecture Belizeans recognize. Backed by funding from Taiwan and additional government investment, the project was designed to improve comfort, accessibility and efficiency, not just for lawmakers, but for staff and the public as well. We look at what was changed, what it costs, and how the facelift is expected to improve the day-to-day workings of Parliament. News 5's Paul Lopez reports.
The National Assembly building has been standing at the heart of Belmopan for 50 years, built when the capital itself rose from the aftermath of Hurricane Hattie. And now, half a century later, it's getting a long overdue facelift. One of the biggest changes is on the first floor, where a new elevator has been installed to make the building more accessible to everyone. That same level now brings key operations together, from the offices of the Speaker of the House and the President of the Senate to upgraded filing rooms and more modern functional workspace for staff. It's a blend of history and practicality designed to make Parliament more inclusive and more efficient for the people who work there every day.
We're in 2026, and what we were working with, Madam President can concur for the same with her experience in her chamber, was a lot of archaic equipment. Workflow was not optimal, space was not optimal. I use the restroom facilities as an example, not because I'm a woman, but just as a human being. They simply were not optimal. Modernization, accessibility, inclusivity, preservation of the heritage of the building.
And this upgrade didn't come cheap. The total bill to renovate the National Assembly building came in at $5.8 million. A major boost came from Taiwan, which contributed $1.5 million through a grant. The remaining $4.2 million was covered by the government of Belize, an investment aimed at bringing Parliament into the modern era while preserving its historic character.
With respect to the cost of the project, we must bear in mind that from the onset, we knew that the project would not have cost $1.5 million. That was a grant from Taiwan. That was just an initial grant that was presented to the government of Belize from Taiwan. The original estimates was already higher than that. And so based on the works that we were able to undertake, at the end, that figure came up to $5.8 million.
Upstairs, the National Assembly's main chamber has been completely transformed. The space where the House and Senate meet now features a refreshed layout, better lighting, and a cleaner, more modern look. The old wooden chairs are gone, replaced with comfortable new seating designed for long sessions. Just behind the chamber, members' rooms have also been fully upgraded. Separate spaces for the government, opposition, and independent senators now include new furniture, couches, tables, and chairs, accented by artwork drawn from Belize's National Art Collection.
In terms of the seating arrangements and the shift from the first iteration of the chairs to what we have now, as the speaker mentioned, the Senate, from our perspective, do sit very long hours. In fact, I can cite, as was mentioned earlier, one particular bill that took 5 hours, 30 minutes. So you cannot expect a member of parliament to sit in a building, to sit in a chair, sometimes for 8, 9, 10 hours. The Senate starts at 9 in the morning. One of our recent meetings went as far as 9:30 in the evening. And so you cannot expect parliamentarians to robustly debate a bill or a motion in an uncomfortable space.
On the third and final floor, the focus is on the public and the press. The gallery now features improved seatings and layouts with better access for people using wheelchairs. For the media, it's a welcome change. No more cramped corners or hours spent on the cool tiled floors. The upgraded media section offers a more functional and comfortable workspace. The renovations were put to the test for the first time during Monday's joint sitting. While many praise the improvements, critics continue to question whether the $5.8 million price tag was money well spent.
With respect to those critics, I would definitely like to invite them personally for a visit to the National Assembly so that I could thoroughly explain to them the scope of works that were undertaken. Anyone that has that opinion, definitely I see the need that they could contact myself as the chief engineer at MIDH, and I could give them a thorough explanation and a tour of exactly what was done. Based on the structure of the building, yes, the structure remained the same, the foundation remained the same. However, the idea was to try and see how best we could preserve the identity of the structure but make it more modern.
As the restored National Assembly building begins its new chapter, officials say the upgrades reflects commitment to accessibility, efficiency, and the preservation of a national landmark. Reporting for News 5, I am Paul Lopez.
Speculation is swirling within the United Democratic Party over whether Patrick Faber and Anthony Boots Martinez could be making a political comeback as standard bearers. That potential shakeup inside the party could come at the expense of recently selected female candidates in Collett and Port Loyola. Claims that have raised more than a few eyebrows among supporters after an already rocky year. But party leaders say the story being told online is misleading, insisting the rumors don't tell the full story, and saying the organization is rebuilding and moving forward after a major leadership reset. Here's more on what's being said and what's actually happening.
Let me say that the United Democratic Party had a National Party Council meeting on Saturday. At that meeting, we passed a resolution to right the injustices and wrongs that was done to 4 senior members of the United Democratic Party under the previous leadership. And so for posterity and to ensure that we clearly document for our own history, the Honorable Senator Patrick Faber, Ms. Beverly Williams, Mr. John Saldiva, and myself, we made a clear motion declarations that what was happened was wrong and completely wrong. There is no intention, as far as I am aware, of any changes to the leadership in Port Loyola. Where it comes to Collett, there has always been a clear understanding that at the appropriate time, we will look at the caretakership, as we have an obligation to do for all other constituencies that have caretakers. We are a political entity that intends to win in 2030. And to be fair, the only reason the Honorable Patrick Faber was not considered the caretaker was because of the injustice done to him. At the time, he was not allowed to participate and effectively expelled a third time, if you will, because he was bold enough. He was bold enough to show up for a National Party Council meeting where he should have been. So he was disenfranchised, and we will not allow that injustice to perpetuate indefinitely.
Is that to say then that he will, that now is the appropriate time for him to be reinstated as standard bearer in that area?
There will be a meeting, including the leadership team and the Collet constituency, the present caretaker, for us to determine collectively together when that time will be.
Before we leave you, here's tonight's viewer's voice. On our first story, federal lawsuit targets resort companies after 3 Americans die in Belize. Mercedes Lopez commented, "These hotels and resorts must be held accountable. People cannot just be dying without accountability." On the topic, NTUCB cries foul after police deny protest permit. Shans Mendez shared, "They are just doing this to try and silence us." Thank you for engaging with us online. Your voices shape the national conversation. Keep those comments coming, and we'll continue to feature them right here. And that's the news. Tonight's broadcast is available at greaterbelize.com, on our Facebook, and on YouTube. I'm Sabrina Daly. Thanks for joining us, and from all of us here at News 5, good night.